Hi, Duncan Creek families. It's Miss Ridgway here. I wanted to do a video to give y'all some information about some reports that you're going to be receiving through ParentVUE. Tomorrow you'll get an alert through Parent Square about some reports that will be available on ParentVUE about the iReady diagnostic. So I am going to share my screen and show you some information that hopefully will be helpful for these reports that are coming up. Okay. Just a second. All right. So the first thing that you're going to see is a report that looks like this. You will have one for reading and one for math. And some things that I want to highlight on this report is that you will see at the bottom a grade level placement. And most of the time that's going to say approaching grade level or on grade level or above grade level. Approaching grade level is the expectation for this point in the year. Since students took this diagnostic the second or third week of school, we don't expect them to have that grade level knowledge of the grade level that they're in right now. So approaching grade level is that expected level of performance. You'll also see approaching over here or at grade level. You could also see above grade level. Another option that you might see is needs improvement, and that identifies an area where students may need some additional support and instruction. Okay. There will also be a national norm at the bottom, a percentile rank, and the average range is considered within the 30th to 75th percentile. So looking at that and making database decisions, we are looking for students to fall in that 30th percentile or above. And I also want you to remember that this is one piece of data. This is a test that was administered on one day or over multiple days the first couple of weeks of school. So we make decisions using multiple data points. We're not going to make a decision just because a student scored a certain way on this iReady diagnostic. Remember that they could have had a bad day, started off on the wrong foot, maybe they rushed through, maybe they just clicked, weren't sure what was going on. So we always want to use multiple pieces of data to make instructional decisions. So like I said, you will receive this for reading and for math. And this is the first page. The second page is going to be more information about within each of these domains, what you can do to support your student or your child. Okay. The next piece of information has to do with parent reports for kindergarten through third grade students only, and they were administered literacy tasks, and these were administered one-on-one with the teacher and the student. And the student had a piece of paper and the teacher was recording on the computer. But these are assessing foundation reading skills. And all students in kindergarten through third grade were administered the rapid automatized naming task. Then kindergarten students also were administered the letter naming fluency task, which was mixed case. Then students in first through third grade were administered the pseudo word decoding fluency task. Kindergarten students will begin this at mid-year. And then for our fluency measures, first grade students used the word recognition fluency task, and second and third grade students used the passage reading fluency task. And the first grade students will begin that passage reading fluency at mid-year. So the rapid automatized naming assessment measures how quickly and accurately a student can name a series of familiar items. And in kindergarten and first grade, those were objects. And in second and third grade, those were letters. And it evaluates the efficiency of accessing and retrieving phonological information from long-term memory, which is a key component of reading fluency. So this is looking at processing speed, automaticity, reading fluency, and you look at this score, there's going to be either an on grade level or below grade level. And there's a single number cut score that goes for above or below. So your student may be flagged as below, but they may only be one object or letter away from that grade level score. So if you would like additional information about where your child falls, you can reach out to the teacher about that. Okay, the next task that students were administered was that letter naming fluency in kindergarten. And that assessment measures how quickly and accurately a student can name uppercase and lowercase letters presented in random order. So a lot of times, the timed component as well as the random order is a big difference on what we see on this task versus in the classroom or at home. So the task evaluates automatic letter recognition, which is foundational for early reading development. Okay, so it provides us information about alphabet knowledge, processing speed, reading readiness, and visual discrimination, because there are a lot of similar looking letters in different cases, upper or lower. The next task that students were administered, and this is for our first grade students, was word recognition fluency. And word recognition fluency measures how quickly and accurately a student can identify and read real words. These words are typically high frequency words and grade level appropriate, and the task assesses a student's ability to instantly recognize words without needing to decode them. So these are sight words. We're looking at sight word knowledge, reading fluency, and helps us with reading readiness. And remember that first grade students did this for word recognition fluency for our fluency measure. They will move into that passage reading fluency at mid-year. Okay, then all students were administered in first through third grade were administered that pseudo word decoding fluency. And kindergartners will begin this at mid-year. And pseudo word decoding fluency measures how quickly and accurately a student can decode unfamiliar made-up words that follow regular phonetic patterns. And these words have no meaning, so students must rely entirely on their phonetic knowledge and decoding skills. So we look at, this provides us information about phonological decoding ability, about decoding fluency, and is a predictor of success in reading real words and texts. And the final piece of information within that report is going to be the passage reading fluency. And like I said, first graders will begin this at mid-year. Second grade and third grade students were administered this at the beginning of the year, and it measures how accurately and efficiently a student reads connected grade level text aloud. It evaluates both rate and accuracy. So the mean word count correct per minute, as well as the percent of words read accurately. And this looks at decoding automaticity as well as word recognition and reading fluency. So students were given 1 minute to read a passage, and they actually read two different passages, a fiction and a nonfiction text, and the scores fall within the mean word correct per minute as well as the accuracy. So we're looking at those two pieces of information for passage reading fluency. And you'll also see a percentile rank most likely within that score, 0 to 10th percentile, 11th to 49th, and then there is 50th to, I want to say 50th to 75th, and then 76th to 99th percentile. And there are different scores for each part of the year. So you'll have a fall score, a winter score, and a spring score. And that is the case for the passage reading fluency as well as the word recognition and the pseudo word decoding fluency. Rapid automatized naming is always going to have that on or below score, but it does have different cut scores for different points in the year. So hopefully this gives you some information about what you're going to be seeing on Monday in ParentVUE with these iReady reports. We will also be offering some parent sessions in the future if you have additional questions. And of course, you can always reach out to your child's teacher or to myself, Melissa Ridgway, if you have additional questions. All right, thanks so much.